Okay. Yeah, my name is Ash or Li Mu Shi, and I've been in China I was in Guangzhou for 6 years. 之前我在广州6年了 and I studied at Jinan University, 然后在济南大学读书. And so during that time, the first 2.5 years, I met a lot of people, a lot of Christians, and from that, we ended up starting a home church. 然后我在读书的时候，我认识很多基督徒。我在哪里学中文2年半，然后呢，第5个学期结束了，我们开了一个家庭的教会 and we started a home church because we wanted a place where we could all meet, because a lot of times we had to have classes on Sundays. So I rented out a home, just a place where we could gather for a small group, and we started to meet there. 因为我们平常在星期天要上课，所以去教会真不方便。那时候我觉得我可以租一个房子，然后邀请大家过来我家可以团契，and did that for 4 years, 然后做教会4年了。And then we got caught by the cops, and I got kicked out. 然后呢，我们被警察找到了，然后他们把我赶出去。And so I'll explain a little bit more of that in a little bit. 然后呢，我以后就更分享这个情况。And so just to let you know, I'm going to try to get a new visa, hopefully by the end of next month. 然后我打算下个月底办新的签证 because I wanted to wait 1 full year and then try to apply for a new one. 然后我要等1年，1年结束了就再办一遍。And today we're going to actually be looking at the Job chapter 1, and I titled this "When Difficulties Come and the Proper Christian Response." 今天我们要学习约伯记第1章，然后今天的主题是当困难来的时候，我们基督徒的正确的回应。And I guess like this sermon is probably more for myself than anyone else, just a reminder, because it was from last year until now, I've lost a lot, and it's always good for whenever us Christians go through difficulties to examine our hearts and to look and see how we respond to God's word, because sometimes it's not always like the people in the Bible. 我觉得今天的讲道的内容是我自己觉得是为了我，因为从去年到现在，我失败了很多，超级多，所以今天的讲道的内容是我现在的 like 态度是怎么样的，是好还是不好，然后呢，我也不能让现在的情况影响我的脾气。And so let's look at Job. We're going to start in chapter 1, verse 1. 我们在约伯记开始第1章第1节. And so I'm not going to go through the entire chapter because it's going to take too long. But I broke it down into 3 different sections. 我们今天要学习不是第1节到第22节，因为太多了。但是我把这章分开3遍，你可以看那个PDF. So verse 1, chapter 1. Oh, by the way, our church is English and Chinese. That's why I'm speaking English and then Chinese, because this is how we do it in the church. I'm just very used to it. 还有我们的教会是在广州，然后我们是英文的、中文的教会，所以就是为什么我在这样的讲道，因为我已经习惯了。Verse 1, 第1节. There was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job, and that man was blameless, upright, fearing God and turning away from evil. 乌斯地有一个名叫约伯， 那人完全正直，敬畏神，远离恶事。7 sons and 3 daughters were born to him. 他生了7个儿子，3个女儿。His possessions also were 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camel, 500 pairs of oxen, 500 female donkeys, and very many servants. And that man was the greatest of all the sons of the east. 他的家产有7000羊，3000骆驼，500对牛，500母驴，并有许多仆婢。这人在东方人中就为至大。His sons used to go up and hold a feast in the house of each one on his day. And they would send and invite their 3 sisters to eat and to drink with them. 他的儿子按着日子在自己的家里设8园，就打发人去，请了他们的3个姊妹来，有他们的一同的吃喝。And it happened when the days of feasting had completed their cycle, that Job would send and set them apart as holy, and he would rise up early in the morning and offer burnt offerings according to the number of them all. For Job said, "Perhaps my sons have sinned and cursed God in their heart." Thus Job did continually. 1年的日子过了，约伯大分人过照他们自己节，他们清早起来，按着他们的众人的数目行燔祭，因为他说恐怕我儿子犯了罪，心中的祈祷神。约伯常常这样行。One of the things that I wanted to point out, one of the reasons why we looked at these verses is Job was extremely blessed by the Lord. And he has not only a big family, but also an extremely big business. He owns a lot of stuff. 然后呢，我们看到在第1到6节的时候，第五节的时候，我们发现了约伯真的是被上帝的祝福，他的家庭挺大的，而且他有这么多的生意。And Job had 7 sons and 3 daughters. 约伯有7个儿子，3个女儿。You know, my family there's 9 children in my family. So Job still has one up on my dad. 我的家庭有9个孩子，我是第一，所以我知道大的家庭是怎么样的。But Job was also, except for being blessed by his family, he's also extremely blessed in his business. 然后呢，上帝也是特别祝福他的公司。He had 7,000 sheep, 有7000的只羊。He had 3,000 camel, 他有3000的骆驼。He had 5,000 oxen, 他有500头牛。And 5,000, it says female donkeys. 然后也说了500只母牛。And it doesn't say how many people he had working for him, but there had to have been a lot. And as we go on, we're going to notice that Job has, from what we understand, 3 different businesses that he's running. And this just lets you know that not only that, but it says that he is the greatest of all the men in the East. 然后呢，我们就继续读的时候，就发现了你可以了解有3家的公司，而且说了他是最祝福的人。And this is important, 就是挺重要的。为什么？ Why does the Bible explain everything that he has? 为什么圣经说了他有这么多的东西 because Satan is going to use that later on to question his loyalty before God. 因为之后撒旦要用他，跟耶和华说了，他只有相信你，是因为你这么祝福他。And Job is what Job goes through. If you are a Christian for any period of time, you will, at some point in your life, go through many, many difficulties. Maybe not to the extent that Job did, but you can definitely find things in Job's life too that sooner or later you will relate to in your life. 然后呢，如果你是基督徒比较长的时间，你会发生了什么？你也会遇到可能不是跟他一样的，但是你可以了解他的情况。You know, all of us, if you are a parent, or if you've lost someone in your family, you know how that feels. 如果你是爸爸或者妈妈，或者你有家人已经去世了，你知道这个困难是怎么样的。And some of us have failed at business. We've lost stuff that we've invested in. 或者我们自己开公司，但是失败了，或者我们投钱也失败了，我们都可能开始了解约伯的情况。And if you are a Christian, it's easy for us as Christians, we look at our situations and our circumstances and say, you know what? Maybe it's because I didn't have enough faith. Maybe it's because I might have did this or that, or maybe God's punishing me. 然后呢，我们开始遇到很多问题的时候，或者我们自己觉得我们生活跌倒的话，我们开始想起来，那是不是我的信仰有问题？是不是我得罪了神？ And one of the things I want us to learn today and to learn from Job is not only what he lost, but also his response. 然后今天我想我们都学习什么？我们看到约伯他的失败了，而且他的回应是怎么样的？ So let's go to verse 6, 第6节。Now, it was in the day of the sons of God. Now it was the day that the sons of God came to stand before Yahweh, and Satan also came among them. 有一天，神的众赐来，势力在耶和华的面前，撒旦也来在其中。And Yahweh said to Satan, "From where do you come?" Then Satan answered Yahweh and said, "From roaming about the earth and walking around on it." 耶和华问撒旦说：“你从哪里来？”撒旦回答说：“我从地上走来走去，往返而来。” Then Yahweh said to Satan, "Have you set your heart upon my servant Job? For there is no one like him on the earth, a blameless and upright man, fearing God and turning away from evil." 耶和华问撒旦说：“你从有心查看我的仆人约伯没有？地上再没有人像他完全正直，敬畏神，远离恶事。” If you look at verse 1 and then look at verse 8, verse 1 tells us about the character of Job, what his life is like. 你看到第1节还有第8节，第1节告诉我们约伯他的品质是怎么样的，然后在第8节，耶和华他自己说了，他就对撒旦说了，我的仆人是这样子。And in verse 1, it tells us that this is what Job is like. And then you keep reading, and then you find out in verse 8 that the Lord himself tells Satan, "This is what my servant is like." This is his characteristics. That he is someone who's blameless, that he's upright, that he fears God and he turns away from evil. 然后耶和华对撒旦说了，我的仆人，他是什么？整治、敬畏、远离恶事，这4个。He's blameless. Job is described as a man who had a life that, even though he was a sinner and he ended up dying, that he lived a life that in God's eyes was right. 然后呢，对了，约伯他也是罪人，因为他已经去世了。可是这里说什么？他是整治的，就是他的生活在耶和华的眼睛中，他是整治的人。然后就表达他的生活是这样子。That means when it came to making decisions in life, whether it's in business or it's in family, this was how he responded. This is in the eyes of the Lord. This is what his life was like. 然后呢，不管是他的家人的事，或者公司的事，生活的事，他是整治的。就是在耶和华的眼睛中前，他是这样的人。And then all the choices that he made was always in God's eyes good. 然后他的选择，他遇到什么问题，他的选择在耶和华的眼睛中都是对的。That he was upright. That this has to do with his moral character. This is number 2. 然后第二个是什么？他是不是，正直是第二个。第一个是 blameless. Okay, we'll just say I think the Chinese has it the same as English, or different than English. 他是我们可以说是无知的，而无罪的，他就是他没有罪，第一次的感觉。第二个是他是整治的。And that was dealing with his moral characters. 然后就是什么？就是关于他的道德是整治的。And now, this for us, living in 2023, especially if you're in America, it might be extremely hard to do. 然后就是特别是今年2023年，特别是如果你住在美国的话，就整治的道了，真的不容易。And there's many things that are always, every single day, that are out to challenge our morals. You might be at work, you might be at school, you might be with your friends, you might be with your family members. There's things every single day that will challenge our morals. And yet Job, it doesn't matter if he was with his family, with his children, his wife, his workers, which we're going to find out he has a lot of. He always had an upright character. His morals were right. 然后呢，我们看到约伯，不管是关于他的公园，或者关于他的家人、他的孩子们、他的妻子，不管是谁，他的道德都是什么？整治的。And so this is, when we look at his life, we should, and this is something that I, especially yesterday when I was working on this, just examining my own life, is this how I am in God's eyes? Especially when the blessings are there. 然后呢，我特别是昨天我在准备这个内容的时候，我也是审查我自己的生活，我是不是在耶和华的眼睛中是这样的孩子？特别是上帝是祝福我的时候，祝福我的家人的时候，我还是这样的人吗？ Because Job, when he had his blessings, what did it say in verse 5? It says, after everything was done, after the feast and stuff was done in his house, that he went and offered to the Lord. He goes, maybe offers sacrifice to the Lord and says, maybe if one of my children sinned in their heart against the Lord, I want to make sure that's right. This is what he did when he had all the blessings. 然后呢，我们看到第5节的时候，就是约伯是被上帝的他特别的祝福他。他说 OK， 我们的晚会结束了。我不知道我的孩子们在心里可能得罪神，所以我现在我要赞美他。And this was his character, his character during his blessed time. 然后就是他的性格，他祝福的时候 ，Next is that he feared God. 然后说什么？他敬畏上帝。You know, and it's interesting because in the Chinese, there's usually 2 different words that are used to describe, like in English, where we'd have 1 word for fear. 然后在英文我们只有一个单词，我们说 fear God。但是 fear God 在中文有2个意思。It's one is to like you're afraid of God， 就是你对上帝害怕。The other is also to 敬畏神，第2个是敬畏神。But in English is the same word， 但是英文是一样的单词 fear God。And so fear God, when we read this, that Job feared God, what does that mean? 所以我们在读英文的时候，我们看到约伯 he feared God， 就是什么意思？他是 fear God 是什么意思？ It means that Job understood that everything he had in his life, from his 10 children to having literally thousands of animals and probably hundreds of workers to take care of all that, was all from the Lord. 然后约伯 fear God 是什么意思？约伯都知道他10个孩子们，而且我们发现他有几千的like 动物，还有可能几百的员工，都是从上帝来的。And Job knew that life and death was in the hands of God. 然后约伯他也知道，在上帝的手中有生命还有死亡。And that led and shaped his life. 然后呢，这样的知识影响他的看法，他的生活。And so he feared God. He had a deep reverence and respect for God. 所以他敬畏神。为什么？因为他有这样的知识，然后完全影响他的生活。And then the fourth character trait is very interesting. 然后第四个的品质是真有意思。It says that he turned away from evil. 是什么？他远离邪恶。And think about that. Are you like that? Do you turn from evil? Do I turn from evil when we see it? Or do we just kind of like, oh, it's not that big of a deal, and we walk past it? 然后你现在是远离邪恶的弟兄或者姊妹吗？我也是不是？ Because Job didn't say, oh, it's not that big of a deal, and just kind of doesn't really matter if I do this or I watch this or I'm with these people. It means that this means that Job said no. If he saw that there was something evil, he actually, instead of continuing to go forward, if it's before him, he would turn and go the other way. That's what it means. 然后约伯 turn away from evil, 远离邪恶是什么意思？意思是如果在他的对面有邪恶，他会完全改变他的道路，他会去左边或者右边，他不会一直在走路。And this wasn't just something he did once or twice. This was his a lifestyle. 然后这不是他一次或者2次做的，就是他的生活的方式。He feared God. He turned from evil. He was upright and blameless. 他的不是1、2次做的，就是他的生活的已经习惯了，远离邪恶，敬畏上帝， 整治，无罪。And remember, this was when he had everything. He has a big family, he has lots of stuff, many workers, everything's very successful, life is good. 他现在是在受到上帝的罪祝福中的时候，他的生活是这样子，他的家庭这么大，有这么多的员工，有这么多的东西，这么多的产品，他的生活真是福乐。It says that he was the greatest needs. 圣经说他是什么？你可以了解是第一名。And then Satan comes before God and says, verse 9, 然后撒旦就来到耶和华的面前，然后他说了什么？ Satan goes before God in verse 9, 第9节. And Satan answered Yahweh and says, does Job fear God without cause? 撒旦回答耶和华说，约伯敬畏神，岂是无愧呢？ The only reason why he fears you and he's like this is because you bless him. Of course he's going to be like that. 那为什么他敬畏你呢？我告诉你，是因为你这么祝福他。You gave him a big family. He has multiple businesses. He's making a lot of money. He has lots of stuff. Who wouldn't fear you? 我告诉你为什么他敬畏你。你给他这么多的孩子们，这么祝福的生活，这么多钱，他肯定赚了很多钱。他有几家的公司，都发展了很快，很大，当然敬畏你。And then Satan keeps saying it's not only that, but also you protect him. Verse 10. 然后撒旦就继续说，还有你也保护他。第10节 Have you not made a hedge about him and his house and all that he has on every side? You have blessed the work of his hands, and his possessions have increased in the land. So not only did God bless everything that Job had, but he also protected him. His family, his companies, his workers, his children, everything was protected under God. Nothing bad happened. 然后撒旦说，你岂不是四面全上礼拜位，维护他和他的家，并他一切所有的吗？他所做的都忙，你赐福，他的家产也在地上增多，所以你祝福还有保护他的家人、他的公司、他的产品等等，当然敬畏你。So he says all this. So of course, who wouldn't bless you? Any one of your children would act the same way because everything is going smooth. It's like when I was in Guangzhou, you know, some people, I know some people that believe in Buddhism, and they offer the incense a couple times a year. They'll go up to the temples, and the only reason why they do this, they say, it's not that I believe in this deity or whatever, but if I give something to this idol, which we Christians call an idol, that they will receive something back. This is the same kind of mindset that Satan has before God. 然后我在广州的时候，其实我认识很多佛教的，信佛教的，然后我也有几个朋友们，他们是佛教的，然后他们可能没有那么相信，但是他们会几年几次去把东西归给他们的偶像。为什么？因为他们觉得，如果我把这个东西放在这里，给这个偶像的话，以后我会收到更多的祝福，更多的会赚更多钱，就是撒旦的了解。 And then Satan in verse 11 says, 然后在第11节，撒旦说 But send forth your hand now and touch all that he has, and he will surely curse you to your face. 你其神手会他一切所有的，他必当面弃掉你。So in Satan's mind, Satan says, okay, lower your protection. Remove your hand of blessing, your hand of providence over his family, his companies, and he will curse you to your face. 所以撒旦的了解是耶和华，你现在不要保护他，他的东西，他的家庭，不给他你的祝福，他肯定骂你的名字，离开你。Verse 12, 12节。Then Yehovah said to Satan, Behold, all that he has is in your hand. Only do not send forth your hand toward him. So Satan went from the presence of Yahweh. 耶和华对撒旦说，凡他所有的都在你手中，只是不可伸手，加害于他。于是撒旦从耶和华的面前退去。You know, it's interesting because if you can understand the English and the Chinese, like this right here, in the English it says, you can go say, the Lord tells Satan, says, okay, you can do it. Just it says in the English, but don't send forth your hand towards him. And in the Chinese it says, but don't harm his health. You know, that's what it's saying in the Chinese. So it's a little bit different, but it has the same meaning. 然后如果你能懂了英文、中文，你都知道这里的翻译有点不一样的，但是意思是一样的。耶和华就对撒旦说了 ：“OK， 你去吧，你可以试一下他，但是你不能伤害他的身体。”就是英文是这个意思。And the accusations that Satan had about Job was what? 然后呢，撒旦就是对耶和华，你可以了解有撒旦的他的指控是什么 ？Number one， 第一个 that Job's faith was only self-serving. The only reason why Job believed was kind of like some of my friends that are Buddhists. They only believe because they want to receive something back. They really don't. Apart from if they can't get a blessing, then they wouldn't do it. 然后呢，撒旦他的了解是什么？约伯，他相信你，他有信仰是为什么？因为你祝福他。如果你没有祝福他的话，他不会信你，他不会跟随你。就是他的意思，跟我的佛教的朋友们差不多一样的。如果他们真的没有受到祝福的话，那他们以后肯定不继续每年几次去礼拜他们的偶像。And Satan's also his understanding is that the righteousness of Job is conditional. Conditional on what? Conditional on God's protection and blessing. If it's there, of course he's righteous. If it's not, he'll sin. He'll leave you. 然后呢，撒旦的意思是什么？约伯他的公义是什么？是有条件。如果你没有祝福保护他，那他不会有那么完美的生活。And then Satan says, but if you try him, if you take it away, his faith is gone. He won't be righteous. 然后呢，撒旦的意思是，但是如果你没有祝福他的话，保护他的话，那他是能做了，他不会公义的人。And then verses 13 through 19 is when everything bad starts to happen. 然后第13节到19节，他开始遇到很多问题。In verses, I'm not going to read this because it's going to take too long, but I'll just kind of summarize what's going on here. There's 4 bad things that happen in these verses. 然后我们不会现在读13到19节，因为太多了。为了时间的话，我就告诉你13到19节他遇到什么问题。他遇到4个 真的真的真的坏事。So in verses 13 through 15, his first company, we could understand that the donkey company, is raided. And all the donkeys that he has are stolen, and all the workers are killed except for one. 然后他第一家的公司，你可以了解是什么？就是他的驴的公司，有很多like 小偷坏人就偷走他的驴，杀死他全部的员工，除了一个。And then only one comes back, runs up to Job and says, "We just got raided. All your donkeys are gone, and all of your workers are murdered." 然后有一个人，他跑到约伯说了：“约伯，真不好意思，很多人刚刚来偷走你全部的驴，而且杀死所有的员工，除了我。” And while this guy is explaining, another guy comes running. 然后他在告诉约伯的时候，他的后面有一个人跑到约伯， and this other guy is behind him, comes running up and says, Job, I'm really sorry. I have horrible news. The company, your sheep, all your sheep, and all the workers, fire fell down from heaven, I don't know, and destroyed all of them. I'm the only survivor. 然后他说了我们可以说你的民养的公司，全部的小羊员工都被火杀死了，我们都不知道，但是从天空杀很多火，杀死了全部的，除了我自己。And while the second guy is telling this to Job, a third guy comes running up. 然后第二个员工告诉他，有第三个在他的后面跑到约伯。And the third guy says, he comes from the camels, the camel company. 第三个那个员工是从他的骆驼的公司来的。And he says, a bunch of bandits came down from the mountains. They stole all of your camels and murdered all of your coworkers, all of your workers except for myself. 然后呢，他说从神来了很多小偷，他们偷走你全部的骆驼，而且杀死全部的员工，除了我一个。And while the third guy is saying, a fourth guy comes running. 然后第三个人就告诉约伯，所以在他的后面还有一个人，他也跑到约伯的对面，对他说 ，and the fourth guy comes up and says, Job, all your children, all 10 of your children, and all the servants of your house were at the feast today. And this great wind came and blew the entire house on top of everyone. All of your children, all of the workers inside are all dead. 然后呢，第四个人对他说了：“约伯，你10个孩子，你7个儿子，3个妹妹，3个女儿，还有你的家庭的仆人们都在家里吃饭。我们都不知道从哪里来的，但是有很大的风来，然后破坏房子，房子跌掉，杀死你全部的孩子，全部的仆人都去世了，我一个人还在。And this guy, the fourth guy, says, I'm the only one that survived. And just like that, Job lost everything. His 3 companies, all his workers, and all his children. 然后就是这么快，全部的东西走了。他3家的公司，全部的员工除了4个，他的仆人，还有他的孩子们，都走了。 And if this was you or this was me, or maybe you've started a company and you've struggled really hard, or maybe you failed, maybe you've lost a lot of money, or maybe you've lost a brother or sister or a child or a spouse, I don't know. 如果就是你还是我，或者如果你自己开公司，但是你吃了很多亏，或者我不知道你的家庭有没有人已经走了，你知道这个困难，你知道这个感觉是怎么样的？ How is your response? What would be your response? 那你的回应是什么？你那时候你的回应是什么？ And it's very easy. Like if you are okay, so so I'm a businessman. I had a company in China, and now I'm helping my dad. We have 2 companies here. 因为我也是 businessman. 我在广州有一家的公司，还有在这里我跟我爸爸有2家的公司，所以我当然懂了开公司的事情。And when I got kicked out of China, like I lost a lot of money. That money that I had earned from the company and the church. 然后我在中国的时候，我也吃了好多亏，因为我被警察赶出去的时候，我的公司也是那时候失败了，而且我为了我们的教会，我自己花很多钱，然后我现在什么都没有。And so I understand, like, when you lose in business, and as a Christian, you start to ask all these questions. Well, is it because my faith isn't strong enough? Is it because, did I sin against God, or is, why are you allowing all this to happen to me? Like, those are the thoughts we start to have. 然后我们开始想起来很多为什么？为什么我失败了？我是不是得罪了你神？为什么我吃了这么多亏？是我自己的问题吗？我的信仰不够吗？我们开始想这样的情况。And what's interesting is that through all of this, what was Job's response? 然后我们发现了，他约伯遇到这么多的问题，这么多的困难，他的回应是什么？ And then on top of and forget about the companies, forget about the money, forget about it's horrible. He like think about that. He had so many animals and stuff like that. He probably had a few hundred workers and servants, like in total. Because to manage all that, you have to have a lot of people. So it wasn't just like 2 or 3 people died. A lot of people died in these few verses. 所以我们要想一想，他有这么多的动物，对吧？那他肯定有击败的公园，对吧？所以我们读这差不多8个经文，很多人出事了，很多人出事了。But besides all that, he lost 10 children, like that, 10 children. 然后他出了公司员工的问题，10个孩子现在不在了，10个。In China, most people that I know have 1, maybe 2 children. And it's horrible if you lose 1 or even 2. But Job lost 10 like that. 然后在中国很多中国的家庭可能有1、2个孩子，如果1个走了，那肯定非常不好。如果2个走了，那就是更难过。但是约伯10个孩子们今天不在了，10个。And if that was you, what would your response be? 如果就是你的话，你怎么回应？ What would you think, why God? Would you get angry? 你会生气吗？ Let's look at verse 20, 第20节。Then Job arose and tore his robe and shaved his head, and fell to the ground and worshipped. 约伯便起来，色泪怀抱，剃了头，伏在地上下拜。And he said, Naked I came from a mother's womb, and naked I shall return. Return there. Yahweh gave, and Yahweh has taken away. Blessed be the name of Yahweh. 说我吃神，虚无母胎，也必吃神，归会。赏赐的是耶和华的手勾的，也是耶和华的名是应当称颂的。Through all this, Job did not sin, nor did he give offense to God. 在这一切的事上，约伯并不犯罪，也不以神为冤枉后裔。So Job's response, what did he not do? 所以约伯的回应，他没有做什么。He did not blame himself. 他没有什么，他没有责怪自己。He didn't say this has to be it has to be something I did. He didn't get depressed. 他没有怪自己，然后就对自己生气了。He didn't blame others. 他没有责怪别人。He didn't blame the workers that died. He said, "You four that came running to me, why didn't you do anything?" 他没有说你们4个人就来告诉我这个坏事，为什么你没有保护他们，帮助他们？ He didn't blame his wife. 他没有怪他的妻子。You know, maybe his wife, couldn't she have done something to help the children? 那他的老婆，你为什么你没有帮助我们的孩子们？ He didn't blame his circumstances. 他没有怪他的环境。He did not blame his faith. He didn't say, well, it must have been because I didn't have strong enough faith. 他没有怪他自己的信仰。我的信仰不够，所以肯定上帝现在对我生气。他没有这样的想。And he didn't blame God. 而且最重要的是，他没有怪上帝。If that was you, or if you've gone through that, was your responses like that? Was my responses like that? 如果就是你的话，或者如果你也一样的吃亏了或者失败了，你的回应跟约伯一样的，我的回应跟约伯一样的。You know, last July, on a Sunday, you know, our church now is 4 years old. 我们的教会现在是4年。然后去年的7月10号星期天 when we were last year July 10th, when we were in the middle of church, our church got raided by about 30 cops. They just came in and they shut everything down. 然后呢去年7月10号有大概3名的警察就自己进入我们的家庭的教会。And at first they gave us a warning. 第一次他们就有警告我们。And since I was a pastor, I was actually in the middle of preaching when they came in. 然后呢，因为我是牧师，那时候我在讲道的时候，他们就进入我们的聚会。然后那时候他们问我们很多问题。And you know, they asked many questions, and they said that they told me like many different things. They said there's 6 things that I did that was in their eyes, it was committing a crime. 然后他们对我说我犯了 like 大概2个罪6个罪。They said you don't have a license. 他们说你没有教会的执照。They said you're not allowed to, because you're an American, you're not allowed to have foreigners and Chinese in the same church. 他们说因为你是美国人，你不能让中国人还有外国人在一起聚会。They said you're not allowed to teach the Bible. 他们说你不能教别人圣经。They said you have children here, because we had on that Sunday we had I think 4 or 5 children in the church. 那个星期天我们有4、5个孩子们。他们说孩子们不能参加教会，而且你不能教孩子们圣经。And so we had 4 4 or 5 children, and they said that children are not allowed to attend church. They said, actually, they told me that it's illegal if you're under 18 for anywhere in China for any child under 18 to attend church. And they said it's illegal for you to teach the Bible to children. And then they also said that, what else did they say? They said, I can't remember. There's 6 things, and basically that's what they accused me with. 所以他们有6个的问题，他们说我还忘记了是什么，但是差不多是这样的。他们说你的家庭的聚会是犯罪，孩子们参加你的教会是犯罪，你教圣经是犯罪，外国人还有中国人在一起是犯罪，等等。And so, like, having foreigners and Chinese together in the same church is illegal. Teaching children the Bible is illegal. Having children attending your church is illegal. Having a house church is illegal, etc., etc., etc. And so they first gave me a warning because they also wanted to know if I was getting like outside support, if I had other churches helping give money. But I said no, and they checked my bank account. They looked at all the transactions, and they found out that I was only using my own money. So that was actually really, really good, because if there were other churches involved, if I was getting monthly support, it would have been really, really bad. 然后呢，那时候我没有别的教会给我们钱，因为他们看到我的银行，他们看到我从第一天到那时候我一直付我自己的钱，其实真的是保护我们很多，因为如果有别的教会在复制我们，肯定是更大的问题。And then 2 days later, on July 12th, when I went to go pick up my passport, I actually got arrested. 然后呢2天后，就是12号，我去拿我的护照的时候，很多警察逮捕我，然后逮捕我去监狱里。And they arrested me and they took me to the main police station, and they actually, for about 3 hours, they put me in this chair, and they strapped my feet, my torso, my chest. They handcuffed me to the seat, and they just asked me a bunch of questions for about 3 hours. 然后我在那个监狱里的时候，他们问我，他们把我放在一个 like 一个金色的椅子，然后呢，他们3个小时，他们问我很多问题。And this whole time, like, I was handcuffed like this, and I had the mask on and like straps here. 然后3个小时我是这样做的，然后这里有一个 like 口罩，然后呢，我的手是这样子，然后我不能动。And during that, and then after that, I remember when they were asking me all these questions, because it went on and on and on. And I couldn't do anything. All I could do is respond. I couldn't move. 然后我不能动。然后他们问我很多问题。然后大概2个小时后， and then it was like maybe 2 hours later, as they're asking me all these questions, I was like, okay, Lord, if you want to send your angels in to release me like you did with Peter, I'm like, now would be a great time. 然后我还记住，我大概2个小时后，我就想起来，然后我在脑海里对耶和华说， OK， 上帝，如果你现在让你的天使进入这里，可以让我放开，就是最好的是现在。跟彼得一样的，and I was thinking just like you did with Peter, but no angels ever came. 但是没有天使来的。And but 30 minutes later, a couple guys did come, and they took me, and then they put me in the jail, in the jail cell thing. They like handcuffed me to the seat. 然后呢，大概30分钟后，有两位的警察，他们就把我放在那个监狱里。And I was in there till the end of the day. 然后我在那里到那天结束，然后他们让我走了。And they said you need to leave China. 然后他们说你需要离开中国。And then I only had like a few days to do it. 然后那时候我只有几天，我必须走。And so like I left everything behind, all the church stuff, all the money that I spent and everything. 然后呢，我那时候我的所有的 买的教会的东西，我的家等等都在广州，我什么都没有带走。And I just left with a suitcase, my computer, and a small like exercise bag. 然后我走的时候只有一个行李箱、运动包，还有我的电脑，没有什么别的。And I lost everything. And then on top of that, we started doing the online church for a while, and then it just slowly shrunk. And I still have the online group, but most of the people now that were in our church, I told them to go to other churches, so they've all found other churches pretty much, like to meet every Sunday. And so I'm hoping to go back, but I'm not sure. When I asked the cops when I can come back to China, they didn't give me an answer. They said they said it's best if you don't ever come back. 然后呢，我们的教会现在我已经告诉他们，你们去你们找到另外一个教会，你可以去哪里？因为我们不能一直在线上聚会，所以我们现在差不多停止的聚会。然后那天我准备离开中国的时候，我就问了警察，我什么时候可以回来？因为平常是1年、2年、3年、5年、10年大概。然后他们没有说了你不能回来，他们说了有一个因为的警察他对我说了，他说最好的是你不要回来。然后他们没有说别的。So I'm gonna try to get a new visa. We'll see. I'm gonna try next month. 所以我打算下个月上试一下办新的签证，但是我不知道。And then on top of that, this happened towards like in late July, 然后就是去年7月底。And then last year, towards the we kept doing online church, and then the main reason why we stopped though was because in December I got a really bad eye virus, I almost went blind. 然后呢，我们就是7月底我离开了中国，然后我们那时候到去年底我们继续在线上聚会，到12月，因为12月份这个眼睛感染很厉害，然后我就在医院3天。然后这个眼镜之前2个月我不能用它，我什么都不能做的，天天的特别的疼。And every day for 2 months I basically couldn't do anything. The virus is so bad and it hurt so much. It felt like every day like someone was taking a knife and just digging it into your eye, and the eye was so badly infected that the doctor actually said you might go blind if you don't get into the hospital right now. And so, but it's pretty much all restored now. However, for 2 months, every single day, it hurt so bad. And so during that time, those 2 months, I was like, this is like the worst. I don't know what's going on. I've lost everything, and now I almost lost my eye. And so, and now I'm back here in America, and just trying to get back up and hopefully get back to China. 然后呢，那时候这2个月我什么都不能做的，因为眼睛天天特别疼，我用了很多药，但是每天我感觉是有一个人把一个刀然后放在你的眼睛中间，特别疼然后那时候我真的感觉我的生活真的是很垃圾的。所以我4月份就回去了美国，然后开始长起来，然后我想试一下下个月办新的签证。And so like real quick, I know I've probably gone way over our time, but I just want to say like us Christians, what should we do if we, encounter a lot of loss? 我知道我已经超过了我们的时间，所以我们准备结束了。但是我想说我们基督徒，如果你也遇到很多问题，我们的回应应该是怎么样的？ Well, one thing is we don't want to blame God. 第一个，我们真的不想怪上帝。 And we don't want to blame our situations and don't ever think, well, maybe it's because my faith isn't strong enough. 然后呢，我们也不要怪我们的情况，也不能想起来可能是因为我的信仰不够。But just trust in God, persistent prayer, continue to read His Word, seek and rely on community support like local church body, and just no matter what you go through, have a mindset of joy and gratitude. 所以要做什么？坚持祷告，继续读圣经，让经文安慰你，还有你找到你的周围的教会跟别的弟兄姊妹们帮助你，还有让你的天天找到在耶稣里面找到你的感觉，你的感恩，还有你的心态。And so none of us will probably ever lose as much as Job did, but we can learn a lot from his response. 我们可能一辈子没有吃了跟约伯这么多的亏，但是我们可以好好学习他的回应，然后呢，学他一样的，做他一样的。Let's pray. 我们祷告。Heavenly Father, I just thank you for this time, and I pray for your blessing upon this church and all of our brothers and sisters today. Lord, continue to guide us and lead us and help us to have a godly response to any of our situations. 主啊，我现在为我的弟兄姊妹们祷告，也祝福他们。然后主啊，不管我们遇到什么坏事，我们都希望我们的回应在你眼睛中是圣洁的回应。所以帮助我们，圣父、圣子、圣灵，我们爱你。我奉你耶稣基督的名求，阿门。